during the end, during the time of destruction. So what sort of visions will such children have? Baba is asking. And the answer is, there will be visions of the things in the new golden aged kingdom. As the time of destruction is coming near, children whose yoga is accurate with Baba, such children will have visions of the things in the new golden age kingdom. Even before the golden age is physically here, these children whose yoga is accurate, they will have the visions of things in the golden age. How you will study in the school? In the golden age, how we will study in the school? And then rule the kingdom. Such brighty visions these children will have. As you continue to come closer, you will continue to have visions of those things. More and more, the Satyuga is coming near, the golden age is coming near. Baba is saying those children who have accurate yoga with me, they will continue to have these visions. However, only those whose intellects are in accurate yoga. Now, this is the condition. Who will have the visions? Whose intellects are in accurate yoga. Those who remember their land of peace and their land of happiness. Who remember the one Father. Even while engaged in business, will have all these visions. So as Brahmins, when we hear to the early days of establishment that, the children had so many visions. Having visions would be so easy. When we hear the history of the establishment, and we hear that they used to see Sri Krishna, then Vaikunt, the golden age kingdom, the heaven. So, sometimes something comes within us also. Will we have these visions at all? And so Baba is saying, yes, you also will have these visions towards the end as the golden age is coming near. But then there is a condition. In the end, at the end of the cycle, at the brink end of the cycle, when the destruction is there, at that point of time, which children are going to have these visions? Baba has said three things over here, if you see. Baba is saying whose intellects are in accurate yoga. It means those who are remembering the land of peace and the land of happiness. And those who are in the remembrance of one Father, all this while engaged in business, while in action, while in karma. So in our karma yoga should be so powerful that while doing all these chores, daily works and all that, if I am, in connection with the land of happiness or land of peace, or if I am in good yoga with Baba, then, I am going to have this thing towards the end. That is, have beautiful visions. The song today is Salutations to Shiva. Om Shanti. All of you must have been to satsangs. You have been to satsangs before becoming Baba's children. Surely somewhere here, there, we might have gone to the satsangs. So all of you must have been to the satsangs that take place on the path of devotion. There, you would either be told to say Vahaguru or to chant the name of Rama. What do they do in those satsangs? They all raise their hands and say Jai Mata Di. All this they are asked to do over there. Or they all together, they sit together and chant the name of Rama. Then they have this Vishnu Sahasranama. So different types of, pujas they will be doing. So they chant the name of deities also. So all these things is what they do in the satsangs. The children here don't need to be told to chant anything. Baba is telling the difference. That here we don't chant anything. Do we chant Om Shanti, Om Shanti? Do we chant Shiv Baba, Shiv Baba? No, we don't chant anything over here. Why don't we chant? Once you have been told, once Baba has explain things to us, and once we have understood, there is no need to say it again and again. There is no need to repeat it again and again, because you have understood. And then we understand it to that level that it comes into our practice, and it is reflected through us. We go till that level. See the difference between bhakti and gyan. In bhakti, they are only chanting. And in Gyan, what are we doing? We are becoming embodiment of what we were chanting at one point of time. This is the difference which Baba brings in his children. This is the greatness of the spiritual knowledge. So Baba is saying, once you have been told, there is no need to say it again and again. There is only the one Father. We know that. He is the one Father, the Father of the whole world, the creator, the seed of this whole tree. So we really know, we are so connected to him that we don't have to say his name 100 times or 108 times or any number of times, or write it down. Some of them write it down in bhakti. So there is only the one Father, and he only says one thing. What does he say? He says, children, constantly remember me alone. Me and only me is what you have to do. You first have to study and then come and sit here. No, any newcomer do we allow in our gathering? No. What do? We first make them undergo the course. After the course, then we bring them to the Murli class in the center. And meeting with Baba is mostly after an year. So that you prepare the soul, you make the soul ready as to how to meet Baba. So this is the training which we undergo. In other satsangs, it is nothing of this sort. So Baba is saying, you first have to study and then come and sit here. You have to remember the Father whose children you are. It is through Brahma that you have now come to know that the Father of all of us souls is that one alone. It is only through Brahma Baba that Shiv Baba, he comes and says to us that I am the Father of all of you, the souls. I and I only am the Father. Now he is introducing Brahma Baba. No one else in the world knows this. No one else knows that it is this one Father who speaks through Brahma Baba. All of you understand that you are the children of that Father. Everyone calls him God, the Father. The Father says, I have now entered this ordinary body in order to teach you. Why has he come, the Father? He comes, enters this ordinary body. He says, I take this body on loan, especially to teach the children. So it is so important that we listen to the Murli. It is so important that we do our lessons properly, because he specially comes to teach us. You know that Baba has entered this one's body, that we belong to him. We belong to whom? We belong to Shiv Baba. He has entered the body of Brahma. We don't belong directly to Brahma Baba. We belong to him, Shiv Baba, through Brahma. Baba is the one who comes and shows us the way to change from impure to pure. Again he is saying, I have come to teach you. I have come here in this world to show you the path how to become pure from impure. This remains in your intellect throughout the day. Now Baba is saying that this should be in your intellect throughout the day. He's saying that. But now I have to check myself, that is it so? Is it that throughout the day I remember that especially Shiv Baba has come to make me pure from impure? So is this all the time working in my intellect? Everyone is in fact a child of Shiv Baba. The souls all over the world are children of Shiv Baba. But only you understand this. We, the lucky few, we really understand him, how through Brahma Baba he is teaching us, throughout the world everybody is remembering God that way. But God says that it is you who understand this. No one else understands this. You children understand that you are souls. It's we children who are understanding this. The Father has given you an order. What's the order He's given us? Remember me. I am your unlimited Father. He's given us the order. Remember only me. I am your unlimited Father. Everyone cries out, "Oh purifier, come. We have become impure." It is not bodies that say this. It is the souls that say through their bodies. No, it is not the bodies. It is again the souls. And just earlier, Baba said, what have you understood? You have understood that you are the souls in this body. And so it is the souls who are saying through their bodies. It is the souls that have taken 84 births. Keep it in your intellect that you are actors. Earlier, Baba said, your intellect should always have this understanding that you have to become pure. Now you are impure and you have to become pure. The second thing which they should be there in our intellect is that we are actors. Baba has now made you Trikaldarshi. He has given you the knowledge of the beginning, the middle, and the end. And Baba says that as actors, the actor should always know the whole aspects of whatever the drama is going on, the three aspects. So Baba is saying now it is me who comes and says to you that you are Trikaladarshi. He has given you the knowledge of the beginning, the middle, and the end. Everyone calls out to the Father. Even now, people are calling out and will continue to call him out. Whereas you Brahmins of the confluence age say that Baba has come. Just see the contrast. Around us, there are millions and millions who are still crying out, "Oh God, help us. Oh God, come. Oh God, liberate us." And Baba is saying, it is you Brahmins in this confluence age, you are the ones who know that he has already come. Such an intoxicating aspect. All our people are still crying out. So we should have the intoxication and we should also feel the mercy for others. That look here, he's come. He's giving beautiful knowledge. He's giving us liberation in life. He's guiding us. No? So Baba says it's only you, the Brahmins of this confluence age, who says that Baba has come. You know about this confluence age. This age has been remembered as the auspicious age. One more beauty of this confluence age, not only that we meet Baba, this age is also a auspicious age. The auspicious age exists between the end of Iron Age and the beginning of Golden Age. Such a small area. If you see here, it's the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age. Just over there, there's the Golden Age. And that small strip, Baba says, is the confluence age, which is an auspicious age. Now, Baba says, true human beings exist in the Golden Age. The human beings in the Golden Age, Satya Yuga, it's called Satya Yuga. So, Satya is truth. So, true human beings exist in Golden Age. And what shall we say of the human beings in Iron Age? What could Baba have said? And Baba says, false human beings exist in Iron Age. There are the images of those who used to exist in the Golden Age. You know, we have in Bhakti a lot of idols, and there are so many pictures which are telling us that at one point of time, these true human beings existed in the Golden Age. Now, Baba says those images are the oldest of all. These images are the oldest in the whole cycle. These are the oldest. That is, these are the souls who were in the earliest part of the cycle from the beginning. And their images, they are not there now, the true human beings, but their images exist, which actually is, telling us that at one point of time, these were the human beings. There are no images older than those. Baba gives us an idea of the time cycle. What is the oldest thing in this world? Baba says the oldest are the images of the deities. People create many useless images. Who has been and gone. Images of Amba and Kali with many arms have been created. Very different images of the souls who were in the early times, the deities. Different images are created with lot of hands, with lot of heads also. All these images are there. Baba says no one with so many arms could exist. Baba is authority, so he says nobody will be with so many arms. But the same thing you ask in Bhakti, you say in Bhakti, they'll say, no, you should not be saying this. But Baba says, Baba is truth, and he says, there are no people with so many arms or heads. Amba has only 2 arms. People go in front of her idol and put their palms together and worship it. So many different types of images have been created on the path of devotion. And some images are also very, they bring fear in us. Like especially if you see the image of Kali with her tongue out, and she has that garland of all the skulls, in her neck, with a sword in her hand and a ferocious face. Such images they have created of deities. But yet they will go and fold their palms together and have devotion, and then they'll call her even mother. Baba says when those images of human beings are decorated in various ways, their forms are changed. And if you really want to see how they change their images, you should visit Hyderabad. Because during Ganesh Chauti over here, you will see such celebration for 10 days, and you will see all different types of Ganeshas. You will see Ganeshas made out of vessels also. Let's say a man has a shop of all different types of vessels. So out of his glasses and all the containers, he will make one Ganesha. Somebody is having a shop with pearls and all that, he will make a pearl Ganesha. Somebody's shop has dry fruits, he will make a Ganesha of dry fruits. So on the last day, when Ganesha's procession is taken out and then he's put in the water, you will see all the different types of images. I think the numbers could be in a few lakhs also. All small Ganeshas, big Ganeshas, variety of Ganesha images you will see. Some images will be with the latest social conditions. When war was going, there was war between India and Pakistan, Kargil. So, at that point of time, the Ganesha had a gun also in his hand. So, all different types of images. So, when those images of human beings are decorated in various ways, their forms are changed. They don't actually exist in the forms of those images. The forms which are made in devotion, in bhakti, they don't exist in that way. Baba is telling us. All of those belong to the path of devotion. People here become handicapped and crippled. Now, if you see human beings, these human beings are crippled or handicapped. That doesn't happen in golden age. Baba is telling us that there is not going to be any sort of a handicap, no disease, nothing in golden age. Not even are we going to cry in golden age. You understand about the golden age and how that original eternal deity religion existed there. Only after Baba explains to us, gives us knowledge, we understand that how the golden age would be. Today, as Baba was saying, you'll have visions of how the school is going to be. How will we go to the school over there? Our Pushpak Viman. If we start thinking of all these beautiful things, so how the golden age would be and how the original deity religion existed. Look how each one's dress is different here. Variety dresses you will see in the present world. There is so much variety. Here there is so much variety. In the West, the types of outfits they wear. Now again, if you come back to India, in India itself you will see such a variety of dresses. The way the sari is put on, so many different ways of the sari itself you will be seeing, right? So there is so much of variety, Baba says. But there, there, as are the king and queen, so the subjects. Okay, how the dressing is going to be there. Baba says, as the king and queen, so the subjects. As you come closer, you will continue to have visions of the dress of your kingdom, etc. Baba is, giving us a lot of, what should I say, enthusiasm. He's saying that just have those beautiful visions. How your dress is going to be, how your palace is going to be, how your Pushpa Viman is going to be, your gardens, flowers, fruits, the school, how everything is going to be. So Baba is saying you will continue to have these visions. You will see the type of school you study in and the different things you do. How we are going to paint, dance, do ras together, swing. So all these things Baba is saying you are going to, as you come closer, as a few guys coming closer, you will have visions of all these things. But now he says, who will get all these visions? Who will be worthy of all these visions towards the end of Kali Yuga? However, only those whose intellect's yoga is good will see all that. Who is going to see all that? Whose yoga is accurate. Now, if you see the difference, that when the establishment took place in Karachi, at that point of time, they even didn't know what yoga is, right? They didn't know who Baba is. But then Baba gave visions to them. But towards the end, when the establishment of Golden Age has taken place and we are going to move towards Golden Age, towards the end, the vision will be not how Baba will be giving it. The vision will be according to our effort. Our effort of how accurate our yoga is going to be. Accordingly, we are going to have this vision. Okay. And so if there are going to be bombs and all that, lot of noise around you, and your yoga is accurate, you will not hear the voices of the bombs and all that. You will hear the Murli of Sri Krishna. Such a beautiful experience. And then in that remembrance, we are going to leave our bodies. So our end is going to be very well. Baba says, Antamate Sogati. So Baba is, taking so much care of his children that, they don't get flustered or they don't have fear of what all things happen during destruction. But no, all this for whom? There's a condition for this. And that condition Baba is saying is only when your intellect's yoga is good, all this you are going to experience. And so we definitely have to really look at ourselves, how my yoga is, the quality of my yoga is. They remember the land of peace and the land of happiness. Intellect yoga should be good means what? All the time I should be connected with Shanti Dham and Sukha Dham, the land of peace, land of happiness. You still have to carry on with your business. And now it doesn't mean that, I'm going to leave everything, sit and do yoga only. While in action, while taking care of all the responsibilities, while in business, while doing everything, I should be in yoga. That's what I have to practice. Baba says people on the path of devotion do business, etc. They have no knowledge at all. That while in devotion, how to remember God, they don't have that knowledge. All of that is devotion. That is called the knowledge of devotion. Their knowledge is about devotion. They cannot give this knowledge of how you can become the masters of the world. Baba says bhakti or the scriptures, they don't have the knowledge of how to become masters of the world. How about us? Baba says you are now studying here to become the masters of the future world. What a great study we are doing. Our teacher, the supreme teacher, he gives us a very high aim and object of this study. He says you're all studying because you want to become the masters of the future world. Now I have to see how I study, how I listen to the Murli. Do I feel sleepy while listening to the Murli? If I'm going to feel sleepy while listening to the Murli, how do you think we can become masters of the future world? If my mind is wandering while listening Murli, could be that, now we are seeing that after about an hour or so, that okay, now I have to do this, I have to do that. Now all the chores, if they come in our mind, then are we going to become the masters of the world? So Baba is saying, I am teaching you. I am now you're studying here to become the masters of the future world. You know that this study is for the new world. It is for the land of immortality. It isn't that Shankar told the story of immortality to Parvati at Amarnath. Baba today is again and again going back to what they do in bhakti. Baba is telling some aspects of knowledge and again comparing it with bhakti. Baba is saying the story of immortality is not told by Shankar to Parvati, that too in Amarnath. It is actually Shiv Baba who is telling us this story, story of immortality. Now Baba says they have mixed, combined Shiva and Shankara. The father now explains to you children. Shiv Baba is explaining to we children. And he very beautifully adds, and this one also listens. Brahma Baba is listening. Shiv Baba is saying, I am explaining to you children, those who are seated before him. But the one who is with him, he's saying he is also listening while I am addressing you. Who other than the Father could explain the secrets of the beginning, the middle, and the end of the world? This one is not a sage or a holy man. The one whom I have come is no sage or a holy man. Just as you live in a household, this one is the same. He wears the same dress, etc., as in a family. Just as in any home, there is the mother, the father, and the children. So there is not that Brahma Baba renunciates and he puts on those robes and all that. There's a huge change physically. Why is Baba saying all this? That just as Brahma Baba also was in the household, and he understood Shiv Baba, and then it is with the same dress. There is no change in the dress, but he is doing his own penance. Now you children who also are, most of us are householders, so you also can do the same thing. Now what happens? We start feeling no, it is possible for him. Like sometimes people tell to us sisters to stay in the center. Sister, for you what? You stay in ashram. We have to take care of our children, and they feel separated because of their dress also. We are in white, and they look at themselves and they feel naive. It may not be possible for us to become like us. But when you householders talk to them, they think, if this man or this woman, ye bhai, ye behan, if he can practice this yoga while being in family, then I also can do it. So in the same sense, Baba is also saying over here that there is no change in him as such. He is the same person, Brahma, now, with the same simple clothing, and through him I am giving this knowledge. And therefore, anybody who is a householder, who was in business, who has children, anybody can, practice this knowledge. So he wears the same dress, etc., as in family. Just as in any home, there is the mother, the father, and the children. So there is no difference here. So there is no difference at all. The father comes to the children and rides in his chariot. Now he's specially referring to Brahma Baba. Now, earlier he said that, I am talking to you children, and he is also listening. And now specifically he points out at Brahma Baba and says, see, he is my chariot. It is this one who has been remembered as the lucky chariot. Bhagirath, what is mentioned as Bhagirath in the scriptures, the lucky chariot. So who is that lucky chariot? It's Brahma Baba. Sometimes they also show him, that is God, riding a bull. Now, bull has been shown as a chariot. People have misunderstood this. How could a bull be in a temple? Baba asks. Krishna is a prince. He won't sit on a bull. Krishna, a prince. And would he sit on a bull? Baba is saying. People on the path of devotion are very confused. Now, bull actually, as we say, a cow and a bull. So, bull is the male. So, that Brahma Baba also is a male, and Shiv Baba enters him. So, Brahma Baba becomes his chariot. So, to show that it is a male chariot that Shiv Baba comes into, the bull has been showed over there in Bhakti. No? So, everything which is done in Bhakti actually is nothing but It is all significances of what we do here practically. So now Baba is saying, how could Krishna be riding a bull? So those in bhakti are all very confused. They have the intoxication of the path of bhakti. Then see, Baba says how intoxicated the ones who do bhakti are also so intoxicated. You have the intoxication of the path of knowledge. Those in bhakti have their intoxication. We Baba's children, we are on the path of knowledge. We have our intoxication. You say that Baba is teaching you at the confluence age. Although you are in this world, your intellects understand that you are the Brahmins of the confluence age. See the third thing about the intellect Baba is saying. Although you are in this world is Kali Yuga now. But Baba says, in your minds, in our intellects, we do understand that we are in the confluence age because we are with Baba. So the moment we are with Baba, we are in confluence age. And if you forget Baba, if you are not in yoga with Baba, Baba says you fall into the iron age. So in a day, how many times we fall into the iron age and how much time we are in the confluence? So Baba says it should be there in your intellect that I am in the confluence age. So whatever people are doing in the iron age, I don't have to follow that. I don't have to compare myself with their standards, their ways of living. I don't have to compare myself with their tastes. I don't have to go along their lines. No? Why don't I have to go? Because I am in confluence age. I am not in Kali Yuga. I am not in iron age. So I don't have to follow their methods. So I don't have to follow their priorities. My priority should not be disturbed by their priorities. Now, my priority now is to become master of the world. And so therefore, Baba says, your intellect says that no, we have moved away from the iron age. Baba has come. The whole world is going to change. This is in your intellect. See, fourth point. What should be there in the intellect? Baba is pointing out again and again. What all should be there in your intellect? Because only if it is in the intellect, accordingly you will take decisions and accordingly you will come into action. So therefore, first it is in the intellect that we have to imbibe these aspects which Baba is saying. No one else understands these. All these things which Baba is saying, nobody in the world understands. Therefore, we people, they look at us and they get confused also. What is this? What path is this? Because in devotion also such things are not taught. But then when Baba comes, only then he gives this new knowledge. So therefore, all the things which Baba is saying is all new to the world. So Baba has come, the old world is going to change. Is it not? If you want to establish a new knowledge, new world, you need to have a new knowledge. New knowledge means something which was never existing here. But only then the new world can be established. So this is in your intellect. No one else understands. Even though people of the same family live together. And see, this is one more wonderful thing. Brahmins have lived with their Lokik families. Now all in the Lokik families don't follow this knowledge. So Baba is saying that living in the same family together, in the same home, the father would say that he is at the confluence age. The father may be in confluence age. He is following this knowledge. And whereas the son would say that he is in the iron age. In the same family. The same four people who are staying together, one or two may be in confluence age, the others may be in the iron age. So Baba says this is all a great wonder. We have to look upon it as a wonder. We should not get confused about this. Sometimes we get confused that these, those in the family, those going towards iron age, they have different tastes, different behaviors. Seeing that sometimes, we may feel a bit uneasy, may get sometimes disturbed. Baba says no. Look upon all this as a wonder. When you start looking at anything as a wonder, you only feel happy. Nothing else. You children know that when this study is over, destruction will take place. It is necessary for destruction to take place. So for Baba's children, Corona, for us Corona, what is Corona? We know, we do understand that this world has to go towards Distraction. We do follow the rules, whatever are there, social distancing is there, putting on the mask, sanitizing. We do all that, but deep inside we know that all this is going towards what? Hmm? That it is towards destruction. So we are not so disturbed as the world is. What is this happening? Why is this happening? When will this problem get solved? How will things move later? We understand. See, Baba has prepared us beautifully, you know. So, you know, sometimes when I talk on this, I feel, see, Baba has made it a point that, you know, we cook our own food. And for those who have habit of, you know, always bringing food from outside, online and all that, they are having such a difficult time. They never have groceries at home, very less groceries. But Baba's children, we have to make food and, you know, do both. And so we have to see to it that it is, you know, given to Baba. You know? And so Baba says, see, for a long time, Baba has made us ready. So sitting at home all the time, I don't think it's difficult for Baba's children. So we actually are enjoying our bhattis. We are having wonderful time. We are somewhere thanking Baba. Okay, thank you. Thank you for this time. So we all know in the intellect that it is necessary that destruction has to take place. Only some of you also understand. But Baba is saying only some of us understand. All of us don't understand. The same way as Baba is saying, with the same intensity which Baba says, which the way Baba is saying, with the same strength, the power behind it, you know, children are not able to really catch it at that level. Hmm? When Baba used to say in earlier movies that there would be a time that, you know, you will all be locked in your homes, we never understood. We thought there would be some war and, you know, we'll get locked. But we'll get locked in this way? We never thought. No? So Baba says only some of you also understand. If you were all to understand that this world is going to be destroyed, what would we do? If we really understand that yes, just some time from now and the world is going to be destroyed. Even this physical body in which I am is going to be destroyed. I'm not going to take any penny from here. No, just me, the soul, has to purify myself and go. If we really understand, no, Baba is saying, if you really understand, you put into act, is it not? So Baba says that, you know, if you were all to understand that this world is going to be destroyed, you would all become busy preparing for the new world. Now, here this also is a very nice aspect to churn upon. How ready am I now, and what preparations I have done to go to the golden age, to the new age? Because Baba is saying that if you really understand, then we would have wound up ourselves totally. So have I wound up myself, or, you know, I am still scattered? My intellect is scattered in relations, in people, in some things, and in some aspects of time. This happened at that time, that happened, future, past. The mind, the intellect are swinging here, there. Or have I really wound up myself, withdrawn myself? Is my luggage ready? Am I just seated? Like, you know, at airport, how do we sit with our boarding pass? We're just ready. The announcement should come, and then, you know, we are all moving. Is that readiness there inside me? So Baba is saying today that if you really understand that this world is going to be destroyed, you will all become preparing for the new world. You would prepare your bags and baggages. There is little time left, so at least let us belong to Baba. You know what would be there in your mind all the time? That it's very less time, no time at all. And so what should I be doing? I should only belong to Baba. How am I moving in this direction? Totally I am Baba's. Baba is mine. So, you know, how much am I working on this? How about my attachments? How about my ego, expectations? Have I really overcome all that? Just as if, you know, I'm ready to go to Paramdham with Baba. So today Baba is also, you know, he's specially um, telling about this aspect, that are you busy preparing for this new world? So you would prepare your bag and baggage. There is little time left. So at least let us belong to Baba. Even if you have to starve, let's say everything you transfer to Baba. Okay. and there is a situation, it happens that we may have to starve. See what Baba says? Baba would starve first than the children. And it has never happened in Yagya that Baba or his children have starved. Was there any point of time where there was nothing left and we had to prepare bhog for Baba? Even in the days of beggary, when from Karachi the whole troop came to Mount Abu, there definitely was about an year during which this beggary part was there. And also there was one time when Bhuli Dadi comes to Baba and says, Baba, there is nothing in the store for the afternoon. And Baba says, okay, it's fine. So, Baba takes children on the, just they move around the mountains, they pluck all the wild fruits and eat. And they come back and everybody's so tired and they says, we are going to rest. And by then a money order comes and then the food is prepared. So there did come a situation, to the brink we are taken, as if everything is going to, we may have to starve, or that situation comes in the most difficult way. But then our faith in Baba helps us to resolve the situation. So Baba says that, my children are never going to starve, and he's going to make us full for 21 births. So how is it that we are going to starve? So we have to transfer our bag and baggage. This is Baba's Bhandara. You can eat from Shiv Baba's Bhandara. This food is called Brahma Bhojan because it is prepared by Brahmins, pure children of Baba with pure intellect. They are in yoga with Baba, and then the food is prepared. So it is not simply physical, the purity, the vibration that goes in the food. So prepared by Brahmins. Pure Brahmins prepare this food in remembrance. No one but Brahmins can remain in the remembrance of Shiv Baba. Those Brahmin priests don't stay in remembrance of Shiv Baba. The Lokik Brahmins, Baba say, they are not in Shiv Baba's remembrance. This is Shiv Baba's Bhandara where Brahmins prepare the food. And therefore, the food prepared from Shiv Baba's Bhandara, Bhog is the most beautiful thing, Bhog and Brahma Bhojan. So many times here, in India, when we are doing our morning Murli class, in this lockdown for us, for you over there in the West, I think you visit centers only Saturdays, Sundays or weekends. But here, Baba's children have a chance to come daily. And so Bhog, every Thursday Bhog, and very regularly Brahma Bhojan is there. So the Murli they are able to get daily, but then the Bhog and the Brahma Bhojan, they are missing, they say. So Brahmins prepare the food. Brahmins stay in yoga. They are pure anyway. Then there is a question of yoga. Baba's children are pure, but then the effort is in yoga. It is this yoga that takes effort. This yoga is the one which requires really a lot of effort. You mustn't make up, speak lies about this. Baba says, don't simply gossip or say that, my yoga is this, because some children of Baba say that no one can stay in yoga completely. Total remembrance of Baba all the 24 hours, 24/7. Baba says, this is simply making up and saying lies. Okay. Or I stay in yoga 80% of the time. No one can say this. You also need knowledge. The yogis among you children, now if you are really in yoga, Baba has given a very nice example of that. If you really practice yoga, then there should be some physical aspect of it, is it not? Something physical to be connected. All this is subtle. The meditation we do is all subtle. But then physically, what is the proof for that? So Baba is giving the proof today. Baba says that the yogis among you children can silence others with their drishti. If you are really a yogi soul, if you are in Baba's remembrance, then what will happen? Any soul who comes before you, you can give that silence, that peace to them and calm them down. Bring that peace to them. So can silence others with their drishti. So we have to look at ourselves, how my yoga is. This too is a power. Yoga is a great power. And so if you are really in yoga, then Through drishti, you can give that experience of peace, silence to others. At that time, there will be absolute dead silence. When you become bodiless and stay in the remembrance of the Father, that is the true remembrance. We do remembrance, but Baba from the first sentence today is saying those who are in accurate yoga with me. And accurate yoga means to be bodiless. And that's why so many times Baba says, first look upon yourself as a soul and then remember me. So you become bodiless and stay in my remembrance, then that is true remembrance. You have to practice this repeatedly. And that is what all the things which we are doing now through this online classes and all the programs. If you see, there is a lot of practice on this. There is a lot of emphasis on this aspect. You have to practice this repeatedly. When you sit here in remembrance, you are inspired to practice this. Become bodiless and remember Baba. However, not everyone stays in remembrance. Their intellects wander off to different places and it causes a loss. So the atmosphere also get disturbed and they too will get disturbed. Those who consider themselves to be drill teachers, which drill teachers? Drill of the intellect, should be made to sit on the gaddi. Such souls should come and sit on the gaddi in front of all the other souls. They should sit in remembrance of the Father in front of everyone. Their intellect's yoga shouldn't go anywhere. Then there would be dead silence. Baba is giving us the signals of what it is when you are in total yoga with Baba. The experience of dead silence, the drishti will be so calm and peaceful when you are in that accurate yoga. You would then become bodiless and stay in the remembrance of the Father.
Om Shanti, sister. We can have a traffic control. Here is 7 o'clock. Okay.
Okay. Very nice. Om
Shanti. Shanti. Om Shanti. Shanti. अंतर मन में ज्योति जगा लो, होगा दूर अंधेरा। शिव का कर लो ध्यान, आ रहा पावन पुण्य सवेरा। से आए अपने आप को जानो, राजयोग के द्वारा अपना परम पिता पहचानो। इसी राजपथ पर चलकर पालो अपना बसेरा। तुम हो आत्मा तन से प्यारे, परमात्मा को प्यारे। दिव्य गुणों को धारण करके योगी बनो दुलारे। ज्योति बिंदु ही तोड़ेगा ये माया अंधेरा अंतर मन में ज्योति जगा लो होगा दूर अंधेरा ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति
Om Shanti.
Shanti.
So it was such a wonderful drama. We were talking about yoga, and then the traffic control comes. So we continue. So Baba is saying that you need a drill teachers if you can really see to it that your mind doesn't wander and you can remember you can be in Baba's remembrance and bodiless. So Baba is saying this is true remembrance. Sannyasis also sit in silence. Whom do they remember? That is not real remembrance. See what Baba is saying? They make such an effort, but then it's not true remembrance because they don't have the introduction of Baba. They cannot benefit anyone. They cannot make the world peaceful. They don't even know the Father. They consider the Brahma element to be God. See why knowledge is so important? They are also doing the same practice, meditation. But because of lack of knowledge, Baba says it is of no use. So they don't even know the Father. They consider the Brahma element to be God, but that isn't true. You are now given Srimad. And so Srimad becomes so important. The dictates of Baba, what he says, we have to do accordingly, only then, we will be benefited. And Baba gives you the Srimad that remember me alone. You understand that you take 84 births. Gradually, as you take each birth, your celestial degrees decrease, just like the degrees of the moon. You don't realize that when you see it, no one has as yet become complete. As you go further, you will have visions. As you go further, you will have visions, Baba says. Souls are very tiny. It is also possible to have a vision of that. You can have a vision of the soul also. Otherwise, how could children say that someone has more light than another one? They see souls in a divine vision. All of that is fixed in drama. Now, having visions is also fixed in drama, Baba says. Nothing is in my hands. Now, Shiv Baba is saying, nothing is in my hands. Especially when it comes to visions, he says, it's not me. The drama inspires me to do everything. See, the Almighty, how does he say? How does he give importance to drama? How does he give regard and respect to drama? And he says that it is drama which inspires me to do everything. Everything that happens takes place according to the drama. The offering of bhog, etc. is also fixed in drama. Each act takes place second by second. The Father now teaches you how to become pure. You have to remember the Father. Your souls are very tiny. You have become impure and now you have to become pure once again. This is a wonderful thing. The wonder of nature is spoken of. It's also wonderful, he says. The soul is so tiny. There's such a part inside it of 84 births. All this is wonder of nature. You listen to all the wonderful things of nature from the Father. The most wonderful aspects of all are the soul of all are the souls and the supreme. The most wonderful things, it's soul and the supreme soul. No one else knows about this. No rishis or munis, etc. know this. And we are so fortunate that we simple children know all these great secrets. Such tiny souls become those with stone intellects and then those with divine intellect. First we become of stone intellect, now we are stone intellect, and with Baba's knowledge we become souls with divine intellect. Let there be such thoughts in the intellect. Again Baba is saying, what all should be there in your intellect? I, this soul, became one with a stone intellect. I am now remembering the Father once again and becoming one with a divine intellect. Now this also should be there, stored in your intellect, Baba says. In this physical world, there are physical fathers, then teachers, and the gurus. That one point is the father, teacher, and guru. For us, the only one point of light is father, teacher, and guru. You have been remembering bodily beings throughout the cycle. And now the father says, remember me alone. He makes your intellect so deep and so subtle. It is no small thing to become the master of the world. No one thinks about how Lakshmi and Narayana became the masters of the golden age. You too understand this. Na? But Baba says it's number wise, according to the efforts you make. No one new would understand these things. No new one is going to understand. Now, will they understand this smoothly? They will never understand. The new person cannot understand. So, no, any new person will never understand these things. Only when they have understood in gross form is it then explained with depth in a refined way. From gross, Baba takes us into the subtle. The Father is just a point of light. Yet they have created such a large oval form, like Shivlingam, such a large form they have created. They also create large images of human beings, but they are not like that. 6 feet, 7, 8 feet, huge images. Now we have that Buddha statue in our Tang Bund here in Hyderabad, huge, maybe some 100 feet, huge image they have created, and it's kept over there. So Baba says they are not like that. Human beings have normal bodies. People have created all sort of things on the path of devotion, and they are so confused. The Father says, whatever happened in the past will happen once again. Repetition of drama also confuses some of them. Now follow the Father's Srimat. Baba gave this one Srimat and also gave him visions. Did he not? Baba gave this one Srimat. Brahma Baba, Shiva Baba gave Srimat and also gave him visions. Did he not? He's asking. He said, I give you the kingdom, and he gave a vision of the kingdom. Now become engaged in this service. He gave this Srimat to him, that you become engaged in this service. Make effort to claim your inheritance. Shiva Baba gave this vision and this direction to Brahma Baba. Renounce all of that. Whatever is in this old world, whatever belongs to you, renounce it. He gave this direction to Brahma Baba. So this one became an instrument. And that's how Brahma Baba became an instrument. Not everyone will become an instrument in this way. Brahma Baba was so obedient. Such a great faith that Shiv Baba says to him, first vision he has. And there he decides, yes, I'm going to wind up and become Shiv Baba. He never said to Shiv Baba that, wait, I may have to speak to my wife, it may take 1 or 2 days. Nothing. Here he said, and here this is done. No time gap, no margins. And that is why Brahma is number one. Not everyone will become an instrument in this way. Those who had intoxication came and sat there. Seeing Brahma Baba do the thing, those who got into that sort of an intoxication of the new age, new world, they also came near Baba. We are receiving the knowledge, and so what we do with everything worth pennies. Everybody came into that intoxication, that all this is pennies, and not any worth, and then they become Babas. Therefore, the Father now inspires you children to make effort. The kingdom is being established. Some children say we will become nothing less than Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayana. Baba says, good. Then Baba says, therefore follow Srimat and prove it without mourning. Today Baba is saying follow Srimat without mourning, no excuses, no complaints. But yes, Baba says this and I do it. Nothing else. Don't mourn, Baba is saying today. Baba never asked what would happen to his children. Did Brahma Baba ask? Then how about if I wind up everything and put it in your service, in your seva? What about my family? He did not complain. No questions, no complaints, and no sort of excuses. Okay? So Baba never asked what would happen to his children. If somewhere were to die, see the example which Baba is giving. If someone were to die suddenly in an accident, would anyone starve? Does their family starve? Baba is asking. Some friends or relatives, etc., would definitely feed you. Look how Baba lives here in an old hut, whereas you children live in a palace. Shiva Baba is again saying, see, where do I live? In the old body of Brahma. And for you children, all these things have been made. The father says, you children eat, drink, and live well. Even those who brought nothing here receive everything properly. We experience so much when we go to Madhuban, whatever our, we require certain things, everything is so nicely taken care of. Sometimes not in the family at home, we get this experience. But Baba thinks my children are so priceless. They are so worthy. And therefore for my children, anything I do. Even those who brought nothing here receive everything properly. They live even better than this Baba. Shiv Baba says, I am the wandering yogi. I can go wherever I choose in order to benefit someone. Knowledgeable children would never become happy with the things of the visions. Now again Baba is talking of visions, but Baba is saying that those children who are knowledgeful will not be happy with the things of the vision. So here, what is the difference between what Baba was saying earlier about the visions? The earlier visions Baba was talking was at the time of destruction. When there is a total upheaval, at that point of time, children who are in yoga, in proper, whose intellect is connected to Baba, accurate, such children will have visions. Now that aspect was different. And now what Baba is saying, that knowledgeful children would never be happy with the things of vision, is, just in the aspect, as Brahmin children, some of them somewhere have this thought that, I should have a vision. See, Mama never had a vision. Dadi Prakashmani never had a vision. But then, here they are. So we should not think that my efforts are going to become better only when I have vision. So in that aspect, Baba is talking of visions in this sentence. There is nothing besides yoga. Don't go behind, I should be having visions. Don't have a craving for that. Most important thing is your meditation, your connection with Baba. Therefore, don't please yourself with the things of the visions. See what Baba is saying today in the Murli, the first line he started in the question answer, he's talked about visions. And now finally in the last line today, he is saying that don't please yourselves with the things of visions. So we have to understand the context in which Baba actually is saying this. It means never, don't have this inclination or this inspiration or this requirement within you that Baba, maybe if I have a vision, my Purushat will become better. So in that context, Baba is saying visions are of no use. But when he is talking about the destruction time, at that time he is saying those children who are having these visions, who will have these visions, are those children who have done their yoga well over a long period of time. So, the contextual aspect has to be understood. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost, and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children.
And the spiritual children say namaste,
Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for dharana. First one, create such a stage of yoga that your drishti can silence anyone. Let there be absolute dead silence. For this, practice becoming bodiless. Then the second point is, in order to stay in the true intoxication of knowledge, remember that you belong to the confluence age, that the old age is going to change, and that you are to return home. Continue to follow Srimad without mourning. Blessing today, may you become complete and perfect like the Father. How? With the art of balancing your aim with its qualification. Balance your aim with its qualification and experiencing the ascending stage. Baba is saying, May you become complete and perfect like the Father. Become complete and perfect like the Father. How? With the art of balancing your aim with your qualifications and experiencing ascending stage. We have our ascending stage will make us complete and perfect like the Father. But to experience that ascending stage, I have to see to it that there is no margin between my aim and my qualifications. Explanation. You children want to benefit the world, and you also have an elevated desire to become equal to the Father. However, there is a difference between your aim with its qualifications that should be visible to yourself and others. However, if there is a difference between your aim with its qualifications that should be visible to yourself and others, therefore, let there be the art of keeping the balance for the ascending stage. And finally, any difference. You have the thought, but let your thought be filled with determination, and you will receive a blessing to become complete and perfect like the Father. Now transform the spinning of the two types of discuss that take place, the discuss of self-realization and also the discuss of looking at others. Now don't spin both of them together, Baba is saying. Also stop being trikaldarshi about wasteful matters, and become one who has pure and positive thoughts for yourself, and only spin the discuss of self-realization. Don't spin the discuss of, Baba is saying, looking at others, and don't become trikaldarshi about wasteful matters. Spin the discuss of self-realization. Bring down the gap between your aim and your qualifications. Experience the ascending stage and become how complete and perfect like the Father. The slogan today: to receive the fortune of doing service is the greatest fortune. For a Brahmin, which is the greatest fortune? To receive the fortune of doing service is the greatest fortune. So I have been so lucky, I would say, that today I am fortunate to be able to read out the Murli to all of you. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Ben, can you share some of your experiences? We love to hear.
Yes. Now, I would like to first give an introduction. That the name of this body is Anjali, and I am here in Hyderabad, Himayat Nagar Center. And I have been in knowledge from childhood. And so when people say, how many years you have been in Gyan? I'm really not sure. Because what is not to be in Gyan and what is to be in Gyan, for me, that sort of a difference is not being there. And yes, what sort of changes have come within me over these many years? Yeah, that contrast I can share, and I would definitely like to share. And in the center, I am from the last 27 years here. And Kuldeep Didi, Shanti Sarovar, you might all have heard. Hyderabad has a very nice retreat center, Baba's gift, Shanti Sarovar, where our sister, head sister, senior sister, Kuldeep Didi says. So when I came to center, I had this opportunity to stay with her for quite some time. And then I am now put up in this center. This is an area called Himayat Nagar. And so when we talk of experience, when I was practicing knowledge, it was my uncle who inspired me a lot actually in this direction. And at that point of time, my Lokik parents were not in knowledge. And then, I did my engineering here itself in Hyderabad. And when I was doing my post-graduation, I actually was very not sure that how I am going to stay in Baba Center. Because whenever people see a Kumari, BK see a Kumari, or any at center also any sisters would come, they would, definitely simply ask that, Acha, so you'll stay at center? I would only smile and I'd say to Baba, how is it that you are going to make this possible? Because my Lokik parents were not in knowledge. But they never stopped me from going to center. That was the beauty. And why didn't they stop me from going to center? Because I was really a good student in my studies, in my engineering. In the first year, I stood first in my college. And then when I said this to pay my parents, I also said them, but then you'll have to give me some gift. That because I have come first. Then they said, what do you want? Then I said, I want to go to center daily. So, they had to agree, but because when it comes to studies, I was really doing well. And here in India, doing engineering also was considered to be something really good. So what else from a child, what else would they expect at that point of time? That my children should study well, parents have that interest. And so their interest was being done by me. So they never could say no to me. And somewhere I think in the heart of heart, they were also thinking good that this daughter of ours is practicing this because, going to an engineering college, you have it's co-education, there are boys and girls moving. And so I'm talking of the late 80s. So the scenario in India was not as it is today, where, freely people, boys and girls move. And nowadays they have this concept of simply, saying that I want to marry this boy or girl. So it was a more reserved society. So definitely a fear will be there in parents that, daughter is going to a professional college where you'll have, boys also. And so how will her conduct be? Somewhere I think they will have this fear. They never said anything to me, but, by practice of meditation and spirituality, could be they always thought that this girl will be safe and she will not do any of these things. Could be they were getting satisfied of that. And that way also I was a very, very simpleton, I would say. It was only studies and center. There was no third thing in my life. And so a lot of things in the world, going to theaters or parties or during those times also such things were not there. But then I also was not into all that. But definitely there was one thought in me that, how is it that I'm going to stay at the center? But then I was never worried. And till now, I think I can say that's my quality. No worry. Baba says, Befikar Badshah. Na? So I am that sort of a person who I don't worry a lot. How will things happen? How will do this? Baba is there. And I always like this aspect which Jade Janaki says, have plain intellect. And then the plan will be put into practical. So it's an inherent tendency in me, I think, that plain buddhi, Baba says. And so when I was doing my MTech project, then there was a sister in one of a center which was just started. And that sister had to go to Madhuban for her surrender ceremony. After 5 years, you have this surrender ceremony. And because I was doing my project, I had enough time, and I would be going to the center quite a lot of time. My parents were always knowing that, and center sisters also knew that. So they simply asked me that, sister, is it possible that you stay at the center and go and do your project? Then I simply went home and said, even then I never had any plans that I'll stay back in center. I just went and said to my mother, is it possible that I stay at the center and then go to the college, do my project? And she felt nothing wrong in that, and she said yes. And that's how I slowly started staying at the center. And so, in spite, many a times it happens that if parents are not in knowledge, there is a lot of, conflict, puzzles. But for me, it was a smooth sailing. It's because of this plain intellect which I have. Yes, my father was a bit not so happy with me, but then on his deathbed, he died early. I came in center in 93 and he passed away in 96. But when he passed away, that time he was saying that call this sister, call that sister. I want to meet this sister. So he never followed knowledge, but then towards the end, he definitely got drishti of all the sisters. So, so that soul also went off satisfactorily. Finally, my mother also came to knowledge after my father left his body, and now she runs a Gita Pathshala at her home. So I feel, you should not get disturbed. If you have faith, everything will fall in place. Okay. I think.
Okay, you can conduct the meditation, and then English, they will go, and then you can have 5 minutes. So then afterwards, Hindi Murli, okay?
Okay. Om Shanti.